everybody, my name is Hope and welcome back to my channel. I like musicals, they're every part of my life, and today we're going to be talking about something that's actually not that happy, so I don't know why I have such high energy right now. But we're going to be talking about some of the most memorable musical theatre deaths. And I know it's kind of a depressing topic and also major spoilers for all the musicals I'm going to talk about. I'll say the musical before I talk about the death, so that's your heads up. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say, so without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so my first one is going to be from this musical right here, which is Javert. So there's a lot of death in this show, and when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. And when I mean a lot, I mean it's like all but 4 characters, but like 2 of them are kind of destined to die anyway. But the one I'm picking is Javert. I think Javert is the most memorable stage and film wise. Don't at me, I like Russell Crowe in the film. You can say whatever you like, it's not going to change my mind. Anyway, when he jumps off the bridge, especially in the stage show, it's super interesting because he is on a wire and looks like he's falling, and that's a lot more memorable than being shot, because everyone gets shot, or dying of old age. So like, there's only so many deaths that can be interesting, and his is also, I think, a really big moment of the play because no one really ever sympathises with Javert and he's really just doing his job. So I think that's really interesting for him as a character and I like it. Also, I'll tell you this story because it was told to me by my friend and I think it's a good story. So when she went to go and watch Les Mis, the wires or something had gone wrong, and because of that, he ended up breaking a piece of the set of the bridge that he stands on and stabbing himself with it to die because he couldn't die. I just thought that was an interesting thing to add. But anyway, on to the next one. Okay, so my second one is going to be from that musical there. I think I'm just going to start with those and then we'll move on to the other ones. So Heathers, it's not necessarily sad, but it's just kind of odd, and that's why it's memorable. As you could probably guess, I'm talking about the death of Heather Chandler. Obviously the deaths of Kurt and Ram are entertaining, however I think that Heather Chandler's is so random. Like, first of all, you don't find many people dying by bleach by accident. I'm just gonna say we don't. And also saying corn nuts as your last words, they're pretty unique last words, I've got to say. Also, Heathers is a great show. Please go listen to it. I prefer the original off-Broadway cast. It's fine if you prefer the West End, but I don't get it. I do like the new songs they added though. I do like that. But yeah, I just think her death is quite memorable because it's so different and it's kind of worth watching and it's so strange, and that's why I think it's so memorable and enforced into my brain. But yeah, on to the next one. Now I'm talking about my last posted musical, which is Miss Saigon. Now, Kim's death, right? It killed me. It totally killed me when I watched it because you spend the whole show watching her and vouching for her and like praying for her to get a good life, and it never comes, and then she dies. The execution of this is also really interesting because, I mean, at least in the one I watched, she went behind a screen and you saw like the silhouette and then she stabbed herself. But it was so sad. And like, it's really heartbreaking because you watch her the whole way through and then she dies and you're like, oh my god, this is really how this show is going to end. That's kind of the reason it's so memorable. And I'm sorry, you're going to keep seeing flies fly past the screen, but I can't get rid of them because they're like teeny tiny flies. But yeah, that's why I kind of like that one so much. Okay, my next one is from a musical I feel like I talk about a lot on this channel, but maybe I don't, maybe I just think I do, but that is Falsettos. And probably I think the death I've cried at the most ever, which is Wizard's death. It makes me sad just even thinking about it, man. Like, when I did my Falsettos edits video, I didn't even watch Act 2. I only watched Act 1 because I couldn't. I think it's because Wizard is such a douchebag in the first act, but you come to understand him, and so you feel this connection because you're like, yeah, I'm annoying, I agree. I am kind of that person, but not to that extent. and then in Act 2 you watch him deteriorate, and I think that's what is the most heartbreaking. You see him get sicker and sicker and sicker until he's dead, and even though you don't see him physically die on stage like you do with the others, he's such a character, and watching him lose his entire personality to this illness and you just watch him come back as a dead man, I think is utterly like heartbreaking, really. And this seems really depressing, but if you really think about it, that is one of the most hard-hitting in my opinion, because it's like any other illness would do. You sometimes with those kinds of illnesses, it doesn't just come out of the blue, like you go and you get worse and then you die, which is a depressing fact. But anyway, we move on because Wiz's death is so sad. Okay, so the next one is kind of more of a group of deaths rather than like a singular death, but I'll tell you the one which stands the most out to me. And so that is the entirety of the Dysquith family in A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. Now, there are lots of deaths. I want to say 8 in total, because there's 7 and then like the secret family member who I'm not going to say the name of, they like die at the end as well. But I would say the most memorable to me is either the B death, and I can't remember the names, so I'm sorry if I remember them or I google them and I look them up, put them here. But the B death, which is Phoebe's husband, his death, because she's literally singing this like beautiful song and he's being killed by bees in the background. It's quite funny. Or I think it's Lady Hyacinth, I think that's what her name is, and she basically is killed by Monty, who's the main character, because he keeps sending her off to like dangerous places and she keeps coming back, so he ends up like soaring the bridge to get onto land, and then she drowns, I think. But all of the deaths in that are very memorable. Like this guy that falls off a tower, and because he doesn't push him, but he doesn't help him when he's about to fall, so you know. And there's now a moth in my room. It's just never ending, is it? And there's also, I think, which might be the most known one, which is, sorry, this moth is really annoying, which is the before poison in my pocket, where he drowns them. And on the cast record you can actually hear like the drowning. It's a bit disturbing, but like it's entertaining at the same time, so you know. I thought I'd end this video on a higher note, and this death is probably memorable in many ways, but more because it's just very iconic, and that is the death, oh, I should say the musical first if you want to not know who it is, in Into the Woods, the death of the witch. Now, if you've seen the film, it basically works the same in the musical, where it's just been your fault, which is my favourite number in the show, which where they're all overlapping, they're all blaming each other, and then I always want to just say Meryl Streep because she deserves it in the film. The witch has some beautiful, beautiful songs in that show, by the way, but she's like, it's the last midnight, and that's the solo she sings, and she goes a little bit crazy and things, and then she like sinks into the ground. But the fact that they have to sing like a full-on solo, and they're like throwing beans everywhere, and like they're getting chaotic, and everyone's like, what the hell is happening? And then she just sinks into the ground. Like, name a more iconic death than that. Like, could you top that with a death? Like, really? Because personally, I don't think you could. But you can disagree with me all you want. I just had to say that because, you know, it's pretty iconic. But anyway, there was my video of some of the most memorable deaths in musical theatre. Obviously, there are so many, many more, and if you can think of any, as I'm sure I probably could, leave them in the comments below, as well as requests for videos or anything like that, because, you know, I'm always up for listening for what you guys want, because at the end of the day, what you guys want is what I want too, so, you know. But thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, like the video. If you want to subscribe, that would be cool. Keep enjoying musicals as much as me. Sorry for the slightly depressing video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!